Warning. The following video clip contains strong language and has therefore been rated 18 plus by the YouTube NECCA. Viewer discretion is advised.
Determines destination. Which path will you take? Shattered glass, reflection. What image will you make? Dear God, help us see your trouble before we never get here. Give us the wisdom to know who we are, and the strength of courage to appear. We will keep it deadly. We will roll the golden law.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast about AEW Dynamite. Yes, welcome, everybody, to the PWC's Wednesday Night Skirmish. You're on with me, Christopher Ambs. That's AMBS, like lambs with no L or bullshit first thing in the morning. I'm here with my usually unusual co-host with the most from the Port Phillip Coast, Jimmy T of the PWC. Jimmy, how the hell are you, mate?
I am great, and as a matter of fact, you might as well call me Jimmy EVP after tonight's ending to Dynamite. But yeah, man, I'm great. I'm happy. Sorry for being late. We've already got viewers still, which is great. And yeah, man, I'm just pumped to talk AEW Dynamite. Maybe not so much pumped, but yeah, I'm pumped.
Right on. Well, I'm pumped too. I'm pumped up. I'm pumped out. I'm not going to go any further with that joke because I'm afraid of what I might say that might come across as a little more Greek than I care to come across as.
Oh, well, you could say, you know, pump it up or pump the jam. Remember that song?
Great tunes. Great. Absolutely.
Old school, man. Old school.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the news before we get into
please.
Before we get into wrestling. Well, before we get into wrestling at all, let's talk about the news. Every single flight in the United States of America was canceled today.
Was it?
Is that fucking crazy?
Is that real? True?
Yeah. Every
Why is
single
that?
flight. Apparently their air-to-ground system, like the system that's meant to basically tell them who's in the air, where they are, at what time, just went down for whatever reason. They don't have an answer for why yet.
That's
Pete
interesting.
Buttigieg, who is the transportation minister in the United States, no idea how he got that fucking job, basically said that he doesn't know, they don't know, they don't think that it was an attack, but he's going to make sure somebody else finds out for him. So,
are you thinking what I'm thinking here, Chris?
I mean, what are you thinking, Jimmy? Tell me.
I know you guys love the food poutine. Isn't that a Canadian delicacy?
Yeah, Putin for sure. Yeah, it's good.
Yes, yeah, exactly what I was alluding to. I'm glad you actually got the joke. Do you think it could have something to do with it? Actually, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I think it's possible. I mean, until we know a little bit more, it could just be incompetence, which wouldn't shock me. But it's the
Or-
first time that every single flight in the United States was grounded since 9/11, which tells you how big of a deal it is that this happened.
True.
And the fact that it happened basically means that somebody really fucked up. So
Or could it be China?
it could be China.
Or is it Turkey?
It's over there. Or is it over there?
It's over here, it's over there. I can't even do it
Yeah.
as good as you can, but you do it good, man. Even when you say huge, it reminds me of Trump.
Huge. It's huge. It's the
Huge.
biggest wall. It's beautiful. It's the biggest, most beautiful wall that you've ever seen. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows
Yeah.
it.
That's perfect. Well, we do have a comment in the chat. Dollar Club Wrestling, shout out to Dollar Club. Please don't curse.
Fuck you, Dollar Club Wrestling.
Yeah. Fuck you, man. Come on. Cause apparently they're all virgins here.
All
I
virgins.
wonder why.
I,
And he's Chris in the shower. Looks like shower curtains behind him.
no, those are my curtains. Those are my actual curtains. Wait, here, because you're on my phone, I'll take you to my shower, and we can do a segment from the shower. Look, I can
here we go.
now say, I can now honestly tell people that I've podcasted live from my
Hey.
shower. Although it's not exactly how people imagine it. So, yeah, that was my shower.
There you go. That was a
for the
live feed.
suggestion.
Yeah. Oh, is that you, Kev, or is it you, Jimmy? Who is that? I mean, over at Dollar Club Wrestling. Either way, shout outs to them because everything is dollar, man. It's Dollar Club, apparently.
Dollar. Dollar
Dollar bills,
holla,
y'all.
holla, y'all.
Holla, holla, Valhalla.
Holla, holla, holla.
Valhalla, holla, holla.
I love it.
And
All right,
also,
well-
that was a glorious purpose. It was. It was. But anyway, let's get back to the news, Chris.
All right.
Now, there's
let's
more,
get into
apparently.
the wrestling news. Go ahead.
Right. No, you go for it. I'm waiting for you. Don't worry.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, we could get into the wrestling news. Apparently, the whole thing with WWE being sold to Saudi Arabia was just people exaggerating, which, you know, if you know anything about the IWC, not a big shock. Which is why
Yeah.
I literally don't trust anything that anyone says until William Alessia has a fucking thing up. Until William Alessia says, here's a thing that is actually happening, I don't pay any attention to this shit. So, yeah,
Wow.
so the whole Saudi Arabia buying it apparently was an over-exaggeration by people. The company's still up for sale. They are not finalizing a deal. They are still working on selling the company.
Well, as of an hour ago, now there's talk. Well, first of all, Vince McMahon's getting sued by some of the shareholders, and he's reported via Bloomberg, which I'm sure is pretty reputable. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure.
Bloomberg, yeah, that's a reputable site.
If they say it, I believe it. So apparently, via Bloomberg.com, apparently Vince is getting sued by the way he got back in power and how he got people, he fired, I guess, board members, only to bring back board members that initially got fired. And now suddenly there's civil war going on. And yeah, he's getting sued for the way it happened, and apparently it's all illegal the way he did it. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens there. And also, apparently, there's talk that he doesn't want to really sell WWE after all. But I think, personally, he's doing this out of spite. Whatever is going on, it's done out of spite. There's no doubt about it. And second of all, the fact that Stephanie has now stepped down, because it was only a week ago she was saying, I'm looking forward to coming to London for Money in the Bank at the O2 Arena, only for her to step down when she was just saying the week before how she's looking forward to coming to London for Money in the Bank. Well, I think she was the rat all along, Chris, and I think she was the mole that actually leaked all the Vince McMahon information. I think the family is not as together as we like to think.
It certainly appears that way. You can't tell me that her stepping down a day after her dad came back as into the board is unrelated. You can't convince me of that. No one will ever convince me of that. I don't care how many interviews they do together. Yeah, this was basically a hostile takeover by Vince McMahon, and it seems like some people are going to fight back. So, is that going to hold up a sale? I guess we'll see what happens.
Well, to be fair, I think he was dead set on selling it to the Saudis, but then he received all the backlash that was happening by everybody, because there will be a lot of people worldwide that will stop watching WWE because of that. If it was to go down, and I think maybe he went back on it, and now because there's a lot of mixed signals getting sent out via the dirt sheets and probably via WWE, who are probably leaking this bullshit themselves. You know, it's interesting times, but man, I don't know what's going to happen for the future, but I hope the Saudis don't buy it. If that, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I definitely am hoping that the Saudis don't wind up buying it. If they do, I guess we'll see how things go here. I think that there will be some backlash for the Khashoggi incident. I know that
the Khashoggi Cup we might have in the future.
Yeah, I know that for myself, like the reason, like I was watching pretty regularly the WWE, and when that happened, I stopped. I really did stop. I canceled my WWE Network subscription at the time as well, and I haven't gone back and gotten another one. By the way, the network still exists in Canada. It probably still exists in Australia too.
No, actually, no. We've gone the States route now, Chris.
Oh, okay.
First of all, we've got, and I thought Canada was the first country to do this. I don't know if it's still the same, but the WWE Network now is exclusive on Foxtel, which is Fox Television, short for Fox Television, which is our major cable provider here, which also has the rights to WWE's content. Have now got the WWE Network as an actual channel on cable television, which is great. I like that.
Oh,
but
okay.
we did
have that for a while, but
yeah, because I remember. So they don't have that anymore. Oh, really? So no more. Okay, yeah. Interesting. So we must be the only ones now that are doing that. But since it's on the cock in the States, well, we've got something that's like the cock. It's called binge. I guess you might have to binge on the cock from now on. But anyway, it's called binge, and the WWE Network now. If you want the network via the internet, like, you know, you need to have binge, the binge network, where you access, you look, there's movies on there, there's TV shows. It's exactly like the cock, except this is binging the cock. And now the WWE Network is also on there. So the WWE Network on its own, as we knew it, does not exist in Australia anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Unsolicited dating advice that has nothing to do with this segment. Find you a girl who likes to binge on the cock.
Yeah, binge on the cock. Just saying.
Yeah, just
everything comes back to penis.
Advice. The answer to everything is penis.
That's it.
Fuck.
It's true. Well, Homeboy88 in the chat saying, hey, putos. And he also says, I hate to say this, but if the WWE goes away, so be it. Maybe professional wrestling will have a major reset in a few years. It reboots and becomes territories again. Highly unlikely. Because territories back then, there was a lot of money behind them compared to indies now that we have, if you know what I mean. And that just,
and there's no such thing as
now.
Territorial television anymore.
And that too.
Why the territories
absolutely.
worked.
It won't work now because everything's the same. Like, as in, everyone's cable is the same shit. There's no more fucking territory-based cable, like, if you know what I mean, where they show different programs on different on the same channel even, but it's not like that anymore. So it just wouldn't work. The only way it can work, I guess, if you have territories for country specific, but even that still won't work because the best talent aren't there. Everyone's always going to gravitate to where the best talent are, and that's not going to be the case with territories. So I don't see WWE ever dying, period. It's almost like the NBA dying or the NFL dying. I just don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, those things are all possible though. Like, but
no, of course, anything's possible.
A lot would have to change in, like, really, like, at this point, for the WWE to completely go away, it would take something changing pretty seriously about Western democracy as a
Yeah.
whole. Like
Right.
our society
Yeah.
would have to change in
Yeah.
order for WWE
That's a
to
good
completely
plug.
disappear.
For the upcoming Fast Center, actually, Chris.
Yes, it is.
There
The
you
Far
go.
Center.
Look out.
Those
Look
of
out
you
for
who are
that.
Far Center fans, keep a lookout for that. I have one that I've recorded. I've got it off to Jimmy, and it is titled "Why Not Everyone Should Vote." So, a bit of a controversial take there.
There you go.
If you're a dumbass, you shouldn't vote. You should have the legal right to vote, but you shouldn't vote.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers the news, I guess. Is there anything else going on in professional wrestling that's worth talking about?
Not really. Well, if there is, it doesn't matter because this shit is overshadowed it by a mile. So, no, that's just the latest update. I know you and Jeff spoke about it on the NXT show, and I'm just updating on the news. Like, basically, that's it. So, no, I think that's about it, dude. Unless
Right
anyone
on.
can tell us in the chat if we've missed anything. Other than that, that is the major news.
Hey, listen, if something crazy happens, like, I don't know, Terry Bollea winds up being a racist, tell us in the chat so that we know and we can talk about it.
Where is Terry? Didn't he come on this show once upon a time?
He's been on the skirmish a few times, actually. Mostly when we were all audio, though. Strange that he doesn't want to be on camera.
Well, yeah. Where is he? Come on, brother.
Yeah, brother. All right. Well, let's get to it. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite.
Do we have to?
They're coming to us from the LA Forum.
Ooh, the Forum. It's even
Forum,
better.
Los Angeles.
If you ask TK, apparently it's just as famous as the world's most famous arena in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's like Wembley
Yeah.
or Madison Square Garden. The same thing.
Wembley, please. Anyway, yeah,
All right.
the Forum. Staples Center's better. Just saying, more famous too,
Yeah,
right
the
now.
Staples Center is better. It's just a better building.
and more famous for today's fucking people.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so they start off with a bang. Sorry, let's get this comment out of the way. Dimitrios.
Happy birthday, by the way, bro, for yesterday.
Happy birthday.
There you
He
go.
says, "Hi guys. If the Saudis get the WWE, it is very possible. If the Saudis get the WWE, it is very possible. Hell, AEW might become the #1 company. That's my concern."
You know what? I disagree. You know why? Because the Saudis will pump fucking money into it to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm telling you, that's the one thing they will do. Whether the people, buy into it, I don't know. But the one thing I will say, they will go out and absolutely pump this shit with unlimited amount of money. Because that's what they do, man. When they buy soccer clubs, whatever, they do that shit. They really go all out, all in. They'll make everything look overly extravagant.
Yeah.
And the perception will always look like WWE is the bigger company just by the extravagance compared to AEW. So I actually kind of disagree with that. I don't know about you, Chris, but yeah, that's my take.
No, I'm with you on that. I don't think that there's much chance of that happening, just because I don't feel that if the Saudis took over, that they would take over that much. They would take over in terms of overall spending and overall
Right.
what they were making from it, but they wouldn't be trying to go in there and change the creative where all women's wrestling goes away. I know people have said like, "Oh, I worry for Sami Zayn." Don't. If the Saudis buy the WWE, they're very likely to take an ownership role in the WWE and have somebody else as the general manager doing the day-to-day hiring,
Yeah,
firing.
we'll still have the same people in charge essentially in the company right now. 100%. It's just the Saudis pumping money. Like that'll be the difference.
That's my perception of it anyway. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't foresee them trying to. Okay, so Dimitrios says that his concern is the long term, and yeah,
It all depends on the people, man, really, how they take to it.
Yeah, it really does. It depends on if people. Part of it, at least, it depends on if people who are watching the WWE are really as woke as they sometimes claim to be.
I think
I
they are.
have my serious doubts. You know me, Jimmy. I'm not a liberal. right? I'm not some woke liberal person. I'm not an overly conservative person either. I run a podcast called The Far Center because I think of myself as a centrist politically. But I actually did cancel my WWE subscription when all that happened. So, I didn't see an awful lot of other people actually doing that, in spite of the noise that was made by a lot of the woke members of the IWC. So,
I wasn't one of them, right? Because I'm not going to let that sort of discourage me, if you know what I mean. That's just me personally.
And
I don't agree with it. Don't get me wrong.
No, and if that's not you, that's not you. It's cool. But so many people in the IWC
there is.
talk like they're woke and continue to give money to these companies that they know are not very good for people.
Yeah, but see, for me, I don't like to judge. Like, at the end of the day, I love it for what it is, right?
Right, yeah.
Look at the Dollar Club Wrestling says, Jimmy is woke. Yeah, well, I'll try to be. But anyway, no, but in all seriousness, I don't want to look at it from a political aspect, man. Because at the end of the day, I tune in to watch fucking professional wrestling. The minute it gets all fucking mixed up with politics, it's going to alienate me, and I'm sure alienate a lot of the fans. And I don't want to look at it from that perspective. I just want to look at it for what it is. It's meant to be professional wrestling. I want to judge it on that, and that's it. Like, not the morals of the owners or fucking or whatever. Because at the end of the day, all these companies, all of them, even this big sports leagues, whatever, all these billionaires that are running all this shit. Yeah, and this is my woke part. They're all the same shit, man. You think they don't all fucking do shit that we just don't hear it. We just don't know of it unless it comes out. The Saudis are the Saudis. That's their. I don't agree with it, so I'm putting it out there. But that's the way they fucking do shit in their country. No one punishes them. It is what it is. It's just, you know, we should be pissed off with our own governments for letting them get away with it. At the end of the day, right? I mean, shit, no one's stopping them from doing what they're doing. No one's going to do shit to them because, unfortunately, our countries need those guys.
Yep.
So, I'm not gonna put WWE in that same basket, and I refuse to.
Yeah, and fair enough, man. That's, you know, I feel like that's a good, healthy way of living your life, too. I mean, I've talked about on a personal level, like, Chris Benoit is one of my favorite wrestlers. I love watching Chris Benoit matches. I still watch Chris Benoit matches. You know why? Because I can separate the artist from the art. Likewise with the WWE, I feel like the best thing for people to do, if the Saudis do take over, is try really hard to separate artists from art and just focus on, you know, what's being put in front of you as a wrestling fan, whether you like it or you don't. Now, again, this might be a completely useless conversation because a week from now we might be talking about how NBC Universal has just bought the WWE. Right now, it seems like the whole Saudi talk is a lot of people over-exaggerating what the conversations have or haven't happened. So right now, I'd say let's just...
Boy, this is a popular fucking conversation right now, Chris, because the chat's going crazy.
Yeah.
But Homeboy88 says, if WWE goes away, I want to ask Jimmy and Chris a question. Will it matter? I honestly think that the company can't run forever. It might be time to wrap it up. Why? No, see, I look at WWE, like I said before, as like the NBA or the NFL. It's the be-all and end-all, whether you like it or not, of professional wrestling as a professional wrestler. So to me, it's unkillable. It's making record profits. It's I just don't see it like ever dying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Unless another company, because wrestling's unique though, because you can have a company that's just as big as one company. It doesn't work in like the NFL, for example, the XFL, or what was the other one? The fucking the American. What was the other one? Not the CFL, the Canadian football one. The one where Trump was trying to own the whole league.
I can't even remember. I don't follow.
Oh, the USFL. The USFL. That's what it was called. Remember the USFL? That was trying to go head to head with the NFL back in the day, right? And at first it seemed like that, but nothing. But at the end of the day, nothing could go head to head with the NFL. But in wrestling, for whatever reason, if you get another billionaire owning a company, wrestling seems to clash with each other and seems to sort of be on the same pedestal. Do you know what I mean? Like it can sort of become the same. But WWE's got so much history now, man. It's making record money. How does it die when it's making record money? Like, I don't see how, unless the people boycott it for the simple reason of the Saudis owning it.
Right. And I think that there's an outside chance that something like that could happen. I have heard that the Live Golf is having a really hard time finding a place that will air their shows. Like they're having a really hard time
worldwide. You're saying, like, if they were
yeah, in the West, in most Western countries, they're having a really hard time. I've heard that in the UK they might even be willing to just give the content away for free as a way to get their content out there. So there is definitely some pushback against things that are owned by the Saudis, but how much and how much of that can be overcome by just spending more money? And if it can, they will, because money is not a thing.
I'm confused. I'll tell you why. And before we get into Dynamite, because everyone's commenting in the chat about it still. And look, let me put it like this. The Saudis own English Premier League clubs. All right, for example, the Saudi Trust Fund, which is Bin Salman, pretty much, the Prince of Saudi Arabia, the one that got Khashoggi killed, all right? It was him, right?
Yeah.
Bin Salman, right? He owns Newcastle United. The Saudi Arabia Trust Fund now owns Newcastle United in the English Premier League. For example, they just bought him, and they're turning him into another super club because all the Emirates countries are owning all these football clubs worldwide and turning them into super clubs because they spend ridiculous amount of money on just getting the world's best players and pumping money into all the clubs. So it's all right. Most fans, even though they hate it, right? For example, you see a lot of them boycott, but they still sell out their damn stadiums because at the end of the fucking day, they're all happy that they're injecting all this fucking money into their club, who never had that sort of money in the first place, right? But they're going to get along with the program because they're pumping money into their club. Why is it okay then? But now suddenly we're all going to be like this over WWE? Like, come on. Like, I mean, if it means them pumping more money and making it more successful, I'm all for it. Why are we judging WWE as that? Because of the Saudis. I get it. They're cunts. They're pricks. Right? They're murderers. But fuck. Why are we allowing this shit to get into WWE at the end of the day? Do you know what I mean? Like, if they're going to keep it running forever and whatever, right? I mean, then I'm cool. I'm down for it because it's still there. We should just be appreciative that someone is putting money, regardless of who they are. Because Vince ain't the... Why is Vince... we all love Vince McMahon. And how controversial has that guy been forever? Let's be honest, man.
Yeah.
But we all love Vince. We all bow down to Vince when he fucking comes out. But why? What makes him any different? He's the one that is friends with these murderers. Even against the US government's fucking, like, even though the US government are fucking best friends with the Saudis. All I'm saying is, there's a lot of contradictions going on here, man. Why is it alright for one way, but not alright the other way? This is what does my head in. Like, people can't have it both ways, man.
No, I agree with you. And, you know, like, as much as I'm horrified when I hear about, public hangings for homosexuals and things like that.
It's wrong. It's wrong. But absolutely.
As horrified as I am about that, Jimmy, I'm equally as horrified when I hear about 12-year-olds being given hormone blockers in the United States.
Yeah.
So,
and let's not get started on shit like, in the US. I mean, come on. And it's not just the US, it's our countries too. I'm just saying, like, we're not fucking all innocent either. You know what I mean? Because we're all Western countries, we're all righteous.
And there's horrifying things that happen as a result of every country and every era and every historic epoch that's ever existed.
That's it, man.
People find a way to be terrible to each other. And as an individual person, you have to try to find a way to live your life and be happy in spite of that. And again, I think that a big step towards that is try, if you can, to separate art from the artist. I mean, I canceled my WWE Network subscription. I don't plan on getting another one. But, like, I do sometimes watch SmackDown because I want to see what Sami Zayn's doing. I do sometimes watch clips from Raw if somebody does something really cool. you know,
At
like,
the end of the day,
again,
we're supporting the wrestlers, man, more so than
That's
anything.
right.
Why can't
That's
we be
right.
like that?
that's
what I'm
right.
saying?
Exactly.
It is what it
I
is.
think that's a good step to get off on this, though.
I know,
And we'll
because
move
I'm
on.
getting passionate about this shit, and I can go on about it for another 2 hours. But it seems like in the chat, everyone wants to talk about it. I mean, Demetrius says WWE won't die, but it can become irrelevant if the wrong people go in down the line. Still irrelevant is it will take a lot. Everyone knows what WWE is. That's the thing. So will it ever be irrelevant? I don't know, because everyone knows WWE, like
Yeah.
everyone. But also he says, but on the other hand, they are not buying the EPL FA. It's only one club, right? Because the EPL can't be bought. You know what I'm saying? It's that's the governing body for the Premier League. You know what I mean? And then the English FA is the governing body for the Championship down. That's completely different. It's impossible. But if they could, they would. But it's like a government-run thing, almost. If that makes any sense. But anyway, anyway, let's get into Dynamite. We're here to talk Dynamite. Look, like I said,
All
man, I can be very passionate about this, and I agree with everything what most people are saying. The Saudis are I don't want the Saudis to own it, but I'm not gonna let fucking all that bullshit bring me down for something that I supposedly love, right?
Yeah.
Over someone owning it. It just, to me, whatever, man. As long as they don't bother me, fuck them. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're all guilty of letting these cunts do what they do because no one does anything about it or even dare to do anything about it. So why are we blaming them when we should be looking at our own governments, man?
Exactly.
They're the ones that fucking allow it to happen.
Exactly. And I just want to say thanks everybody for listening to Moral Relativism on the PWC Network.
Jeez, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just passionate. And look, man, like I said, Khashoggi, what happened to him was fucked. But again, it didn't even happen in Saudi Arabia, dude. It happened in Turkey.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Don't get me saying, why didn't they do anything about it? They came out with the story, but they didn't do anything.
Well, I mean, they couldn't. It happened at an embassy that was owned by Saudi Arabia.
While the second they walked, they knew they had taps on. They got audio of what happened. So the second they walked out of that damn embassy, bang, they could have just arrested him. But did they do anything? Of course not. They just said gobble, 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 and that's it.
Gobble, gobble.
Yeah.
Fuck me. Okay, that's a turkey joke.
That's
All right.
a turkey joke. Well, they are named after a turkey. It's true. Look it up. I'm
All
not
right,
kidding.
let's go on with the fucking show here. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite because it actually started off with a pretty good match. I thought, at least, and it's
Right.
Adam Page and Jon Moxley settling the score here. Match starts off. They're exchanging strikes. Adam Page starts off, ends up. Really, throughout the whole match, he's selling his head, right? Sort of classic pro wrestling. A guy just came back from an injury. We focus on the formerly injured part. Good wrestling storytelling here. There's a few things that I thought was pretty funny. I know the little Death Rider thing that Jon Moxley does. That got the announcers sold it as if that was for sure going to be the end of the match. Page kicked out. At one point, Moxley hit him with a pretty serious, stiff-looking pile driver. The announcers again sold it like, oh, it's definitely the end of the match. Page again kicked out. They exchanged a little bit. The ending was, a buckshot lariat from Page, and that was the end of the match. I didn't mind the ending to the match. As much as I'm not a fan of Page and as much as I like Moxley, it was the proper booking as well because Moxley just lost a title match. And, you're probably trying to build up contenders so that MJF can run through them. So, what did you think of the match, Jimmy?
Well, first of all, when did this match become official?
Probably on Twitter.
Twitter?
Yeah.
Well, good one, TK. They were building that he was going to get cleared come LA, correct? That's what they were saying the last 3 weeks. They didn't say there was going to be a match in LA if he got cleared. I could have sworn that's not what I heard, correct?
No, they did say that he would be cleared for LA and that they would fight in LA. But again, I'm not sure how you
but
can
it was
do
more
that
like
in
it's supposed to be a
reality.
stand, sort of like a standoff, not an actual match. And plus, so that's it. Are we done now between these two? Is that? Well, that was a shit fucking little feud. I mean, if that's the case, right? They had nothing to fight for. First of all, what were they fighting for? Can you explain? Oh yeah, sorry, fight forever, whatever. I didn't fuck yous. I'm talking to the fans that say that shit. Well, I don't want them fighting forever. I don't know why people chant that shit. But anyway, what's at stake here? Pride?
Yeah, basically that was the way that they said it. They even actually at one point, see, this is the thing that annoys me with the announced team. I miss JR a lot when he's not there because today,
My boy.
El Mascaco basically was
Mascaco?
saying that this match was more important to Adam Page than the last time that they wrestled, even
Which
though
was
the
for the
last
title.
time that they wrestled, it was for the title. No, that should never be the fucking reaction. And if you're gonna do that, then you better make sure that you've had a fucking hell of a sell coming up to this match. Like, this better be the biggest fucking matchup that your company has ever seen. Otherwise, no, your guy should not be saying it's more important than the title. That title should mean everything to every competitor that you have.
Not in AEW. Clearly. And look, it's probably not El Mascara's fault, right? He probably got fed that shit by TK or someone to say that shit. I mean, I hope for his sake.
I'm sure, but it's still, I mean, it's still just awesome, just awful. So anyway, at the end here, it looks like Moxley's head is hurt. It looks like they're basically hearkening back to how Paige got injured. Doc Samson gets in the ring and he's checking on Mox, and Mox seems a little bit out of it. Adam Page walks away from the ring holding his hands up. That's pretty much how they finish this. I kind of hope this is the end of the feud because I've been saying for a very long time, I don't think these two guys really play well off of each other.
I don't think they like each other really deep down either, dude. It feels that way.
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like most people probably have a hard time liking Adam Page.
If all the reports are true, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, but he has said that he's not going to listen to people because
right,
what does anybody else
that.
know? What does anybody else know that I don't already know? I sold out the Tokyo Dome or whatever the fuck he says. Like,
well,
bro,
he actually hasn't. He's full of shit, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're not that over. You just aren't. You're not that over. I don't like.
Look,
I know
he was at one
really
stage,
loud.
right? Yeah, they do, and he does have his fans. And at first, he was over, right? But he's a bitch now. Then you put him with the Dark Order. Sorry, you're just killing the guy. I mean, I don't get. Look, I don't
His
get.
title run
I
did
don't
him
get
no
it.
favors. His attires
That too.
do him no favor.
He's the way he delivers his promos do him no favors.
Yeah, he's not a main event guy. He just isn't. He's not a guy you can build a company around, and I know that there are people who think that that's exactly what AEW has done or are trying to do.
They did try. I mean, let's be honest.
He's not the guy.
Is he a 2-time or 1-time AEW World Champion?
He is a one-time
He
AEW
never had
World
2
Champion.
runs?
No, he's had one, and it
Right.
was bad.
No,
Like,
I know,
really bad.
but I thought for a minute he won it twice, but yeah, you're probably right.
He won it once, and I was there in the building
Oh,
when he
yes,
won the
you were.
AEW World Championship
Against
and,
Kenny in November.
Yeah, and that was a good match. But
It was, no, for sure. He does good match. Look, he has good matches, man. Right? But
yeah,
it's not
he had
that.
a good match
It's-
tonight. He had a
Absolutely.
good match tonight. I liked this wrestling match. I look at this whole feud and I go, okay, that was kind of a waste of time. Let's move on with something else now. And yeah, don't put these two guys together again because they don't have chemistry.
Well, you know what's going to happen. Well, see, I'm conflicted. See, personally, I like, if they're going to do a feud and it feels like a blood feud, this can't be the blow off. I can't see Moxley giving him his his comeuppance after losing like that. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Unless
I
he
hear ya.
disappears for 6 weeks, like he's been meaning to do. Apparently, he's meant to take 6 weeks off, and he hasn't yet. If he's doing that, I get why he lost. But if he's not, and he just doesn't say anything about it, then that's stupid also.
Yeah, I mean, it might even be why they nodded to him maybe being injured at the end of the match, and that's good.
Well, then he's
That's
going.
fine.
He's definitely going then to his 6-week hiatus. 100%.
Good. Fantastic. Mox, I hope you get rested up and you stay away from the booze. That's just...
Well, I'm glad you said that because something tells me he's back on the booze. I don't blame him, just quietly, but...
That's sad. You shouldn't be.
I mean, doesn't he look like he's gained that weight again from when he was on the booze? When you think about it,
His face
Not
has looked
totally.
a little... Yeah, his face has looked a little puffy the last couple of weeks, but not...
Yeah,
not bad.
if you look at him from when he first came back from his rehab stint, and look at him now, I'm telling you, dude, there's actually a big difference. And he's starting to act a bit wacky again, you know, the unhinged Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, sort of, you know, they used to call him unhinged. Starting to seem unhinged again, a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, he's a loose cannon.
And to be fair, if you're working in AEW, man, you got to be high. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
I think if you're a competent professional wrestler and you're working in AEW,
Hey,
you have to
absolutely.
be either high or drunk or, yeah, something.
Otherwise, it would drive you nuts. I can just picture it, man.
Absolutely. Well, let's see what's next here. All right, well, back from break, and you know it's all about the boom.
Yeah, that was surprising. What the hell? My feed started fucking up there when I saw Adam Cole, so I kind of missed his promo, but I know he was in the ring cutting a promo. Is he back?
It was kind of generic. So basically, he comes out. He says, you know, he wants to thank everybody for the love that he got when he was out. People were sending him messages, or he was reading things on Twitter. Stop reading Twitter, professional wrestlers, and stop talking about Twitter on TV, other than to just act like you're above it. Because every time you talk about Twitter as an important thing, you make yourself look very small and very petty and
Wow.
very stupid and very
He's
normal.
He's kind of.
He's
small.
pretty small. Yeah, Cole talked about how, you know, people were, you know, tweeting and stuff about, I hope he's good, I hope he's doing better, I hope he's getting healthy, etc. And he appreciated that people were, you know, giving him some love in spite of the fact that he wasn't out there performing. It was a good little face promo here from him. He talked about how you know, it's good news, bad news, but the bad news isn't for Adam Cole and isn't for the fans. It's for the locker room, because he's back, baby. And
So he's back.
Tonight everybody's going to be able to point to as the night that Adam Cole reinvented himself and came back and had the best part of his career, and et cetera, et cetera. It was a good little fired up face promo. I didn't mind this.
Did he call out anybody?
He didn't call out anybody specifically, so I guess we're in a wait and see pattern in terms of that. But I wouldn't mind seeing him and Adam Page have a feud. That would be interesting to me.
They kind of were bickering right before he got injured, so maybe that's where they'll go. There's also the unfinished business between him and the Elite also. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. But, and just quietly, I just wanted to say one more thing. You know the Yakuza own New Japan Pro Wrestling?
Well, yeah, and they owned Pride, and like,
And that too. So I just want to point out, I'm sorry for bringing that up again, but it's the Yakuza, because they're cool, right? They're cool dudes. But they're still fucking gangsters, they're still murderers, are they not? I love Yakuzas too, but I'm just saying, like, we can't have it both ways, peeps. Sorry, it came into my head then. And
boxing for most of the
most
19th
dirtiest
century.
Please, still to this day, you're telling me there's no corruption?
Yeah, for most of the 20th century, most of the 19th century, boxing, any kind of sport
Any
like that was
combat
owned by the mafia.
sports, even I love kickboxing, for example, too, right? Especially back in the day. It's not as popular as it is now, like as it was then. K1 was the best, bro. Anyway, they're fucking owned by K1's also Yakuza, and also the amount of gangster drug dealing cunts that pour money into that shit, it's insane.
Yep.
All right, so I'm just saying, including your bikie gangs put money in that shit too. It's all, why are we pick and choose? It's like WWE fucking stabbed us in the back. It feels like. How dare they?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is there's a lot of people who were very happy to see Vince McMahon go and are very upset that he seems to be pulling the strings again. And
I'm a little upset too, but I knew this was going to
get it,
happen,
yeah.
just not so soon.
Yeah, you knew that he was going to make some kind of a power play at some point. Like, he's not just going to go away. He's Vince fucking McMahon.
Dollar Club Wrestling says the Yakuza owns gay pride? Question mark. Remember Pride FC? Used to, you know, the precursor to UFC. Actually, what UFC is today is basically Pride. What Pride was long before UFC became anything great. Pride was.
It's still not as cool as Pride was.
No, Pride was the shit, and all the best fighters that you see. Well, not so much today, but at one point, say about 10 years ago, all came from Pride, and the best heavyweights came from Strikeforce when they bought them out, including Ronda Rousey. She was the
Who's not a
Strikeforce.
heavyweight.
Who's a women, because they didn't have a women's division yet in UFC until they bought out Strikeforce, and then she became the de facto UFC women's champion because she was already, when it got bought out, the women's champion in Strikeforce, and like Overeem came from Pride and Strikeforce. The heavyweight division in Strikeforce, I dare say, was much better than UFC at that time.
I'm not even going to disagree with that. I think that's right. Yeah.
Just saying. You know what I mean?
No, for
but
sure.
anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, listen.
And you know who
people are
owns
in charge of-
UFC, bro? After the Fertittas sold it? Do you know?
Well, it's like
They hide it too. They really hide it, man. They try to do really well. But guess what? China fucking owns it, yeah? They don't tell you that, but that's who owns it.
Right, and Dana White's still in his position.
That's
he's
it.
been in
And that's what we're going to
after-
get with WWE. It'll be the exact... You won't even know that the Saudis are fucking running it. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's probably right. Anyway, yeah, it was good to see Cole back. In terms of, I mean, I'm not as big a fan of Adam Cole as you are, right? But I don't hate Adam Cole. I'm happy that he's healthy, and I'm happy that he's back. He's definitely somebody on the. He's somebody in the company who you actually care to watch his matches. He's not a spot monkey, at least not too bad. And
he can be.
Yeah, he definitely competes a little too well against bigger opponents, but I have a tendency to want to let that slide at this point, especially with this company.
Too. I think WWE though booked him better though in that sense, where he was more believable to take down bigger guys, and he wasn't as much of a spot monkey in WWE because I'm sure they told him to tone it down compared to, you know, pre-WWE and current AEW.
He was better in NXT than he has been in AEW.
Absolutely, in my opinion.
All right, let's move on here. As a big matchup, they've been setting this up for three or 4 weeks now. As Jungle Jack Perry and Hook, or Jungle Hook, take on Moriarty and Big Bill.
Can we say Big Dick?
Jimmy. Okay, listen.
Is that possible?
I'm going to give some free advice to everybody who's getting into professional wrestling, especially if you wind up having yourself a situation where you've signed with a big company, especially if you're 6'7" or 6'8" or however the fucking
You can't teach that, Chris.
Big Cass is. Listen, you have to ask yourself when you're coming up with a name or when somebody's pitching you a name, ask yourself, can you picture Big Bill as being on the top of the marquee for the World Heavyweight Championship? Big Bill. If the answer is no, then stop. Don't fucking do it. Unless you're planning on getting into it as just like a, you know, you love just going out and performing for people, and you know, if you're in Danhausen's spot where you're just there to entertain people, fine. But if you're a guy like fucking Morrissey who looks the way Morrissey looks, don't let them call you Big Bill on television. Don't
You
do
know
that.
what, dude? I don't think he gives a fuck, and I'll tell you why. Because he's going out with what's her name? Is it Lexi there? The ring announcer at the back.
Mm.
That's his. I think they're married now, or he proposed to her, something like that. Anyway, they're in a relationship. Maybe he's down for Big Bill as long as he's around his girl. I mean, he doesn't seem to give a fuck. Because if I was him, I'd be like, fuck no, I'm gonna go by that name, Big Bill. The fuck is Big Bill? Am I a cop? That's what they call cops in the UK. The old Bill.
Billy.
Really? I'm serious. That's what they say. Like here, here we call them cops, right? Or pigs, whatever, common names. But there, they call it the old Bill. He's Big Bill, so is he a big cop? What is he?
I don't know. It's stupid, and that's the kind of shit that they teach you in wrestling school.
But you can't teach that, though, apparently.
You
can
can't
ask him.
Teach that. Okay, so Perry gets a big reaction from the LA crowd. Hook comes in. He grapples reasonably well. I actually thought that, he came up with a
Hook
couple
is
of...
great. I don't care what anyone says.
He had a couple of really smooth-looking moves.
I love the way he wrestles, bro. He's a he does such great suplexes, man.
Yeah. And he was in there with Moriarty, who I actually think can really do a great job
Which
when he works
surprises
the
me that
catches.
you'd say that.
When he's working a catch-as-catch-can style, he's really good. Like, he's a talented professional wrestler.
I hate his gimmick, though, dude. Whatever
He has to change the gimmick. You can't be Big Bill and the Cat Man. It's,
God.
Yeah.
Big Bill.
Hook and Jungle Boy win after a mostly dominant performance where Big Bill got most of the offense from the heel team. Moriarty mostly took a beating. This was kind of nothing. I don't know why they built this up as like a major thing that we were going to want to pay attention to, and that this was going to sell people on watching the show at the Forum.
Yeah, pal. I'm back.
Yeah,
pal.
again, talented performers. I really like Hook. I like the way that he was, not even just the suplexes. He was doing some mat work tonight that I really enjoyed.
He's good, man, in the ring. I don't see how people shit on him for his in-ring style. I don't get it, man.
Yeah, okay. I like him.
He's still a little green, but he's still fucking young, man. He's learning, but he's much ahead than a lot of these fucks, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, he's already got at least some things down, which, I mean, at this point, yeah, it takes people a long time to really master professional wrestling. Like, Ben has said that, he's Ben Hameen, of course, has said that, like he still goes out there, and every once in a while somebody will teach him something, and he goes, "Oh shit, that's a cool little trick, or that's a cool little thing to learn or to add to the repertoire." And
absolutely,
that's how you should be in professional wrestling. And if you're brand new, people should give you a little bit of slack. It's not like Hook goes out there and fucks up everything he does.
He really doesn't.
He's reasonably smooth. He looks good. He's not injuring people. I say keep going with it, young man. And
that's it.
Jack Perry looked good again tonight. He's just so small. Like, I don't know if Jungle Boy can really...
bro.
I don't know. Like, I feel like Jungle Boy needs to be in a tag team, because I just can't take him seriously. I just can't take him seriously as a single star yet. Because he's not big enough.
Dude, imagine a fucker like him coming up to you, losing his shit at you, like Jungle Boy. You'd be like, what? Just bitch slap the dude. Like, you'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Like seriously, you wouldn't take him serious, dude. You think you can bitch slap this guy. And a pro wrestler's not meant to look like you can beat the fuck out of him.
If you're 5'9" and you weigh 170 pounds,
and have long hair like that, like long fucking... Damn.
Don't get in my chest.
And why doesn't anyone pull his fucking hair during matches most of the times?
Yeah, you'd think that more heels would do things like cheating, but generally in AEW, cheating means you're going to lose the match. I don't know how that works in AEW, but those things that used to assist heels in getting dirty wins...
And they don't do those simple things, Chris. Anymore. That's what's frustrating. They don't do those little simple... It's only the little things, bro. The little things that they should be doing, they never do. And if they did do it, it would make such a fucking... It's not rocket science guys. Come on. The wrestlers should know this shit themselves.
The little details that they would probably get to learn if they would bother listening to the people in the back, like William Regal or Chris Jericho or Jim Ross, the guys who have tried and who have said publicly that they try to tell people what to do, and that everybody just ignores them. Like, okay, boomer. Well, if that's what you want to do, then you're gonna keep having, we'll get into it, but you're gonna keep having fucking video game main events like we had tonight, where everybody goes through tables and smacks themselves, and everybody's gonna be bruised and bloodied and battered, and fucked up tomorrow.
And you know what, man? Why? Speaking of the main event, I'm not going into it, but I'm just gonna say, why couldn't they call it a ladder match? Why did they have to call it the escalera of fucking fuego or some shit? Like, why did I have to say? Are we in Spain? Are we in Mexico? I know California's on the border, but what the fuck is like escalera tablada la fucker? Like, why?
Yeah, no idea. None whatsoever.
Escalera suicida. I don't fucking know, bro. Like seriously, it's a joke. It's becoming stupid. Inglés.
English. Yeah, 100%. Orange Cassidy and Danhausen are backstage with a guy from Cobra Kai.
Cool.
This was supposed to be funny, but it wasn't. The best friends are still friends. Hooray.
Oh, God. Jimmy Crack Corn, and I really don't care.
Yeah, let's move on. Sashimi Sticky Rice or something makes an entrance, but is interrupted by MJF. MJF says, "Oh, konnichiwa." The people here in LA seem to think that sashimi here is a big deal, but MJF, like me, has never heard of him. MJF says, you look good, kid, but like I've never seen your work, like ever, like anything. I've never even seen a minute of your work. I have no idea what you're doing.
You know what? But the thing is, he when he was around in AEW, his first little run, he was everywhere. Come on, like. They were really sort of throwing him into our faces, dude.
Yeah.
He would lose all the time, and he faced all the big names, essentially. Most of the times. He was wrestling in main events against main eventers.
Well, he's in against the main eventer tonight. MJF says, there
you go.
At one point, calls him take a shitta. And I just feel like I've made that joke so many times about Shida that, like, somebody owes me some fucking money for that. That's my creative.
Well, I've said that about take a shitter right here in Taksheta. Is in what's his name? Konsutsuke take a shitter.
Right. Constipated like take a shitter. He replies in Japanese. MJF says, as you just did, English. And then take a shitter. Yeah, take a shitter responds with, I said, kiss my ass.
Again, my internet feed missed the start. I watched the match, but I missed the MJF bit. But I'm laughing because he said what I said. English.
And
did he really say, I'll kick your ass?
I said, kiss my ass.
Kiss my ass. They usually like that.
I'm not making fun. I'm just quoting.
Oh, no. The Racist Olympics are back.
Anyway, Sticky Rice shoves MJF. And
Sticky Rice.
And MJF tells Aubrey Edwards, you need to get him out of the ring now before I find him.
Before she take a shitter?
When did MJF get the right to fine people if they do things? I don't understand.
I don't fucking. He's the Burberry champion, bro.
He sure
the Triple
is.
B.
Yeah.
As he calls it. The Triple B. He makes me laugh.
All right.
Man.
So
you can give out fines now.
Take a shitter leaves the ring.
Take a
MJF,
shit?
Maybe. MJF calls out a few celebrities who are at ringside. He calls out Ken Jeong. Says that he hasn't been relevant in a very long time. That's true, objectively. He calls out Freddie Prinze Jr. Says that he's not a very good actor, which is also objectively true. He keeps doing this until Bryan Danielson runs to the ring, chases him off,
Oh, Daniel-san.
and Danielson gets his match underway with random Japanese guy number 407.
Konsuke Takeshita.
Constipated, take a shit.
In all seriousness, but I know we sound like pricks right now, but I actually like Takeshita, right? I actually do. I actually think he's a great wrestler. He's a big boy for a Japanese guy. I'm being truthful now. He actually is.
Mm-hmm.
He's young. He's got a lot of potential, and I truly mean that. I actually am a fan of his. But he can't speak English. Kick ass. Whatever he said.
Yeah.
I kick ass.
And
Or
also,
kiss ass.
and also, like, yes, maybe Depeche Mode there is big in Japan, but he's literally nobody here.
Oh, he's pretty big worldwide, bro. Come on. He was
No,
at
he's
one
not.
stage. Really?
No, he's not.
Well, if he's
No.
not a big deal in Canada, you just mentioned him. In Canada. And I know who Depeche Mode is.
No, I'm saying, I'm calling the Japanese guy Depeche Mode.
Isn't that a DJ?
Yes, but I'm calling the Japanese guy that because I'm continuing the racist Olympics. Jesus, keep up, Jimmy.
I thought you're being... Anyway, doesn't matter. Forget me.
So, big Japanese guy, Godzilla, he's not a big deal in America. He's not a big deal in AEW. So,
They kind
why
of like
the
him.
fuck?
They seem to
Why
pay for
the
it.
fuck does Danielson keep doing this? He keeps struggling life and death matches against people who have never won in AEW or who have a 50-50 record in AEW. You're going for the title in like 2 weeks. Bro,
True.
you need to dominate these fucking guys.
But to be fair to Takeshita, they've booked him pretty strong. Even though he loses all the time to the top guys, they have booked him to go, blow for blow against the top guys. So this was nothing different here. And to be fair,
I know, but what I'm saying is that's wrong. It's shitty
right, but see,
booking.
to me, Ethan Page against Danielson was completely wrong. Because where the fuck is Ethan Page?
Right.
Right? So why book him so strong against Danielson a couple of weeks ago? And I said it then, Chris. I think I was saying it to you. We both know they're not going to do nothing with him.
Yep.
They're just going to... It's done for nothing. That was my complaint. Making fucking Ethan Page look strong. And I'm a fan of his, right?
So am I.
And if I knew they were going to book him well after that, because really that's where you should do. If you're going to elevate someone at that point, that's what you do.
Yep.
But I knew they weren't going to do it, and guess what? They didn't do it. So what was the fucking point of a match like that where fucking Danielson had to literally crawl and scratch his way to a victory, right? And then there goes Ethan Page, and now we take Shitter. I just hope he doesn't disappear for a few weeks again. Because again, it's done all for nothing. Like,
And that's
how are
what
you
I'm
supposed to
saying.
get someone over, man?
That's what I'm saying about the booking. This doesn't help anybody get over because you're not going to be consistent with, like, okay, consistent booking would be, okay, Bryan Danielson fights like hell, barely gets through Ethan Page. Ethan Page is pissed off. Danielson goes on. He, faces some more people, etc. He does whatever he's doing. But Ethan Page comes out the next week and he says, I'm pissed off. I was this close to beating Danielson and getting my number one contendership. I want a match against, whoever's in the back that's got the guts to face me. You have a decent face come out, somebody who can take a loss right now.
Right, exactly.
Maybe it's Darby Allin or whatever, right? Maybe it's Orange Cassidy. Maybe it's Trent. Trent comes out.
Trent! Perfect. Get
Trent
him to be
comes
dropped out.
Yeah, Ethan Page beats him in 3 minutes. And he looks
it.
mad. And he looks fucking stoked. Like, okay, back in the winning trail, and I want somebody else next week. Right? And then the week after that, you have Ethan Page come out and say, I showed last week what I can do when I'm motivated. I'm still motivated. I want somebody else, and I want them now. And then you can start a feud with somebody who's like a half-decent babyface. That's how you elevate a guy off of a loss. You don't just have him almost beat the best fucking wrestler that you have and then disappear for 3 fucking weeks.
Right. And
that
you know what?
is not elevating.
And you brought up an extra good point when you brought up Trent, right? If you can't use Trent, for crying out loud, what about Chuck? Chucky T. He should be jobbing to everybody. Have him fucking get beat up or something. Like, I don't get it, man. Like, who the fuck is Trent anyway? Like, why do we need him to be regular?
Nobody.
First of all,
and he's a tag team specialist. He can take a loss in a singles match.
If that. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, for fuck's sake. Obviously, if you suck can't fucking PP, EVPP, right?
Yeah.
You will get fucking high up the card. I mean, look at where's Miro?
Yeah, it's a good fucking question.
Where the fuck is Miro? Seriously.
Where's Andrade been?
Oh, Andrade? Oh yeah, you mean the Andrade family fucking casa?
Yeah, where'd they go? What happened with that?
It's turned into the Rush family casa. And then where's Rush?
Where's Brian Cage?
Where? The embassy, bro. They're stuck in the embassy. Get it?
Oh, yeah, no.
I mean,
AEW is owned by a Saudi family.
no, actually, Pakistani. Why doesn't anyone fucking shit on that?
I don't know.
They're the biggest sponsors, one of the biggest sponsors, like the Saudis, of terrorism.
Yes,
No one
indeed.
cares about that, right? And they own a soccer club and multiple clubs.
Anyway, yeah, so I'm watching this match with giant Japanese guy versus the American Dragon, and I'm
Battle
just
of the
thinking to myself,
Dragoons.
all I'm thinking to myself is, when does Godzilla here get his title match? Like,
He should. Actually, he should. Because why does fucking nobodies like Sky Blue, who loses a match the week before to the same bitch, become number one contender for the TBS Championship?
that seems very strange to me. And I mean, listen,
And
like,
I called her a bitch because she calls herself a bitch, just quietly.
yeah, and I mean, listen, this kid, what's his actual fucking name again?
Takshida?
Takshida? Is that really his? Jesus Christ.
Konsuke Takshida. That's his real name.
Wow.
Yes.
I don't know. He might have to change that. That's way too close to take a shit. Anyway, at one point, this kid comes within a hair of pinning Danielson. He kicks out of the Busaiku knee. It's like, bro.
No one kicks out of the Busaiku knee, man.
If the Busaiku knee put fucking John Cena away at SummerSlam in 2013.
It put Triple H away.
Like, come on.
It put Batista away.
Fuck, man. Like, unless this kid's getting a title shot in the next 3 weeks, what an absolutely fucking ridiculously booked piece of shit. And listen,
He will,
I'm
'cause he's a
shitting
loser.
on this match purely because of the implications in the booking. Because if I was just watching this match and I just wanted to watch a good match, this was a fucking awesome wrestling match.
Absolutely. If you
Let
put
me
all that
just
bullshit
say that.
aside,
This
No,
was
no,
a
for real.
fucking
Hell yeah.
fantastic wrestling match.
absolutely.
And it pissed me off the whole fucking time, because the whole time I'm watching it going, what? Why? Why are they doing that?
And that's the sad part, man, because if we just put that shit aside and be like, all right, let's just watch it for what it is, you're right. It was a brilliant match. But one thing, I've noticed a pattern now, Chris. Remember when they said wins and losses matter? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, clearly losses don't fucking matter because the winners don't get title shots, the losers do. You lose to the champion 1 week, you're guaranteed a title shot the next. So don't put it past them that either this Friday or next week, sometime either Wednesday or Friday, Takeshita gets a title shot of sorts. If it's not the TNT Championship, it's the AEW World Championship against MJF in a fucking, barn burner match.
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
exactly.
bro.
It'll be whoever beats them will have to dig for their fucking life. I don't know.
It's backwards.
Wins and
I don't
losses are
understand.
supposed to mean something. They are supposed to mean something, and the reason
Not
why they're
here,
supposed
bro.
to mean something is so that you don't have a situation where Phil Brooks is taking on the middleweight champion of the UFC at 0-2. You can't do it Because everybody would
You
know
Michael
it's
Jackson?
fucking ridiculous. Everybody would know that's a
If he
fucking
can't-
ridiculous thing to do.
Bro, I don't care what anyone says. Ever since I saw that fucking fight, I could never take him seriously after that. Because I truly think I could have kicked the fuck out of that guy.
I think you might have had a better chance against him than
kid you
Phil
not.
Brooks.
That
not
was
kidding.
embarrassing. I can't even watch that again because it's so cringe.
He is very unathletic and very uncoordinated, is Phil Brooks.
Best in the world, my ass.
He's great at pretending. Anyway.
And people cry for
moving-
this punk?
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Danielson eventually wins the match. I say eventually because, again, this took way too fucking long. In
Did he
spite
take
of the
a long
fact that,
shitter?
again, this was a good fucking match, man. Like, if you just want to watch a good wrestling match just because it's a good wrestling match, go watch this. This was good. It was solid. There's nothing wrong with this match.
Solid shitter.
If you just leave it in a bubble. But it's not in a bubble because it's
Or in this
professional
case,
wrestling.
leave it in the toilet.
Yes. Anyway, Danielson does the stomps, and then he locks in the
Regal
label
stretch.
lock. But there was no reason for it because Take a Shitter was already out cold.
Taking a shit.
And then Danielson lifts him up and gives him a hug, which you just stomped on a man's face like 60 times, knocked him unconscious, and then put him in a submission hold. Why are you now acting like I'm your friend?
We're dragons.
We're
We
both
fight
dragons.
together.
You're a bigger dragon than me.
We take shits together. Ugh.
Anyway, yeah. Great performance from both guys. Really
Absolutely.
awful booking. Somebody
For
needs
real,
to
it
tell
was.
Somebody
Great match.
honestly needs to take Bryan Danielson aside and say, listen, Bryan, I know you want to help elevate the younger stars, and we all appreciate that.
overdoing it,
We
bro.
really do. But 4.5 minutes and let the kid get in a couple drop kicks, that's all you need to do for him. That's all you need to do for him. Because when you do shit like this, it just makes me look at him and go, there's no fucking way this guy beats MJF. at
Okay,
the pay-per-view."
well, yeah, see, and I was going to say that. I was going to say, unless, and they're not smart enough to do this, 100%, but maybe, just maybe, there's a reason for all this, right? If they're going to be booking MJF to beat Danielson, right, because, you know, he's the older guy, he doesn't have it anymore after MJF beats him kind of thing, right? And that's why he struggled to beat all those guys. They built some sort of story where he's just maybe not good enough anymore because he can't get past just any young guy anymore. He has to literally bite and claw his way. Then cool. Then I get it. But I know they're not going that way. That's not what it is. And Danielson ain't beating MJF. All right. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
It ain't happening.
No, that's far too clever for AEW, Jimmy.
Far too clever. And it's simple too. That's the thing. So, yeah. I don't trust in that. And we got a comment actually in the chat. Who is it? Thomas Galloway. New listener, it seems. Thomas Galloway says, what's your thoughts on what would happen to the Bullet Club if Jay White leaves Japan? Nothing, because AJ Styles left Japan. Finn Balor left Japan before AJ. Kenny Omega, to an extent, has gone from Japan, even though he was back recently. I think the Bullet Club will move on, although it will leave a huge hole in the leadership role. Who takes over, though, is an interesting question. I don't know.
What
And the
about
talk
Take a
is-
Shitter?
Well, technically, the Bullet Club was formed as a faction of foreigners. It was all Gaijins. It was meant to be only Gaijins. Now there's Japanese guys in there. But the whole point of it was just as a foreigner sort of club. It's a good question, man. I really don't know who takes over now. Unless Tama Tonga comes back into the Bullet Club and, you know, he's one of the OGs. So, I mean, that's a possibility because he needs Bullet Club. But then there's talk of him coming to WWE also. So, I don't know. I guess Bad Luck Fale could be your new leader for, you know, because he's another one of the OGs. I know that's crazy me saying that, but I mean, who else? If you take Jay White out of Bullet Club right now, who's going to be the true leader? The thing about New Japan also, Thomas, they don't kill off their factions, man. Except I know Suzuki-gun is done and dusted, but it's rare. They always want their friggin' factions, and they kind of that's part of the big deal in Japan. It's all about the factions. So I don't know. It's a good question, man. Whether Jay White goes is another question, but it's interesting. But don't listen to all the reports just because he dropped his IWGP World Championship. See, this is where all the bullshit starts with all the dirt sheets. He lost the IWGP World Championship, so that means let's all start bullshit. Ooh, it seems that WWE are interested in Jay White, so is AEW. Suddenly, it's easy to make bullshit like that because he lost the championship. Let's start bullshit. You know what I mean? Man, if anyone knows the way New Japan books shit, Okada always wins it around now. Doesn't matter who's got the championship. Okada, it always goes back to Kazuchika Okada. And if you want to know our thoughts, also TG and Thomas Galloway, check out our review here at the PWC Network between myself and the Vet, where we review Wrestle Kingdom 17. I think you might like it. But yeah, that's my take. I don't know if you got a take on it, but yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know what's going on in New Japan. I have no idea who they have set up in terms of gaijins. But Jay White, I mean, he was in AEW a little bit. I know a lot of people were very excited to see him, and he showed up to do exactly dick.
He's good though, dude. Trust me. Like, he's actually good.
I've seen him. He's not bad, but he's not bad in New Japan. That doesn't mean that he would be really good.
I think he could be great
in a system where he has to hold himself back, because you do have to hold yourself back a little bit.
He drops a lot of F-bombs, that's for sure. That's what he does. Like, he's always... But he's no different to MJF in that sense, though, you know, in a way. But in WWE, if he does go to WWE, and apparently he seems keen, I just think it's easy to come up with stories like that when you suddenly lose a championship. So let's start this rumor. WWE and AEW must be interested in him now. Have you noticed those stories that died out?
Where's Jay White from?
New Zealand.
Right. If he goes to WWE, he'll literally be brought in as the sheep fucker.
Yeah, you know what's funny? They'll probably say he's from Australia, man. They've done that to New Zealanders, bro. The Bushwhackers were even billed from Australia at one stage, yeah?
Right.
But they're New Zealanders. Yeah, I know. We've got practically the same accent, and we've got the same way of... yes. It's like Canada and the US is exactly like us and New Zealand. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know, right? Same shit. I get it. But they're still a separate country. You know what I mean?
What I mean is, like, the WWE will instantly give him a shit gimmick. Like, it will not be good for Jay White to go to WWE.
If they do that, man, I think he's got a lot of Randy Orton in him, in many ways, and not
but he's 5'11", Jimmy.
Okay, yeah, he's not as tall but he's believable. If you see more of him, you understand where I'm coming from, man. I think he's great, man. I really do. I think he's one of the best young... He's not even 30 yet, dude. I still think he's one of the best young talents out there, dude. And if he gets a chance at the big stage, like proper... And I'm not talking about his little run in AEW, because that was never going to be long-term. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He was just there for a cup of coffee to build to Forbidden Door. That was it. But he never actually had a decent... They never allowed him to actually get on the mic properly in AEW. So we never really saw his promo in a Western sort of fed. You know what I'm saying? He just was there. But he spoke, but he spoke shit. It wasn't even about himself.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I'm if he's as good as you say he is, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see him develop that and show that to me. I'd be willing to watch it. If he gets over to AEW, or if he does join the WWE, I'm going to watch and see what they do with them. But the WWE have squandered super talented performers. And I don't think I'll ever forgive them for what they did with Karrion Kross.
You know what, dude? I think that's not all WWE's fault. You know what? He's exposing... I'm a fan of Karrion Kross, dude. Straight up. Let's be real. Not only has his run been a miserable failure in WWE, but I think you can't just blame WWE now. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you really can't just... What is he really booked that bad when you think about it? I just think he's...
In comparison to his talent, yeah, he really is booked that bad.
Oh, I don't know, man. I think he's just not as good as people think he is. And believe me, I can't believe I'm saying that. But really, he's not that fucking, dominatrix fucking version. He's very much like his old self. I think he overacts. His promos are overdone. He tries too hard with the facials too, man. Like, tick tock, rah, rah, like, I don't know, man. I just think they're exposing him too much. Whether it's his fault or WWE's, it's a bit of both. I think they need to hide his fucking weaknesses, because right now his weaknesses shoot out like a sore thumb. Thomas.
Well, yeah, but that's
sorry.
the booker's fault.
Well, the only fault that the booker is just letting him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, if you're highlighting a guy's weaknesses, then you're a shit booker.
Well, whatever the case, right now I think he's the one that's looking very overrated at the moment, man. Out of even Hit Row, they're nothing without Swerve, man. That's it. They're not a hit. They're just Row.
Yeah, they got nothing without Swerve.
Thomas says in the chat though, yeah, Jay talks a lot in the match with Okada. Not a lot of action. Was really annoying. But Will Ospreay is the perfect wrestler. Just wish he permanently moved to America and wrestled properly. First of all, I felt bad for Okada and Jay White, because how the fuck are you supposed to top that Kenny versus Ospreay match? If this was back in the day in the 80s, and everyone knows I'm a big Kenny mark, right? But if that was done in the 80s, if you outdone the main event, yeah, you would get punished for that shit. Like, you would severely get punished. Heck, you could even get beat up by the wrestlers for outdoing them, because really, you're not supposed to outdo the main event. Let's be honest. That's how it's really meant to be, right? It's like, I'm a DJ, for example. If I was the opening act for another DJ, he was the main guy, and I fucking put on a fucking show, I'm going to get heat, because I'm not supposed to make myself look better than him. Do you get what I mean? I'm not the main event. I'm not the headline act. Do you get what I mean? And it's the same as this. Sure, it was billed as a co-main event, but how the fuck were they supposed to top off that? Let's be like, I was gassed. The fans were gassed. I'm sure you were gassed, Tom. And really, that was it. Like, I couldn't watch that Jay White Okada match the same way after that, even though it really wasn't a bad fucking match. It's just Kenny and Ospreay fucking had a hell of a match, man. Possibly one of the matches of the year, and it's still only January. That's how good that match was. But Will Ospreay, perfect wrestler, he still needs to chill the fuck out, man. I think he's getting better. He's much better. But he needs to still relax and calm down, man. Like, just a little bit. But he's getting there, for sure. And as far as him moving to America permanently, I don't know if you saw an interview that he did this past week, but he's scared to actually take that step. He said it himself. He's not sure. Like, America scares him. That's what he said. And he goes, AEW, like, the way they did him, he was happy about, sort of. But he's actually afraid of moving to the big time, and hence why he hasn't signed. And he's saying, because his contract is going out this year, he said, I'm more than likely going to stay in Japan. But I don't know, we'll see. But he explained why he probably won't go to America, because he's happy where he's at, one, and he just wants to be able to go home back to England and back to Japan whenever he feels like it. Whereas he knows in America, he's going to have all this pressure on him. He can't go and see his family like he used to, and rah, rah, rah. And so, yeah. But he said he's scared, straight up, in those words.
Well, you know who he's not scared of, and who no one is scared of, is Juice Robinson, who's backstage. He says he's not a complacent guy. He's not a thumb twiddler, what the fuck are you talking about?
Maybe
Why
talking
are
about
you
Ricochet,
even
who was
saying
thumbing
that?
himself. Remember Ricochet?
He's here for some specific things, including that he wants Darby Allin for the TNT title Friday night. Great.
Why?
Yep.
So another
I don't-
loser who has no match, nothing, He's the number one contender to a TNT Championship match, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah, it's an open challenge, but
Oh, so Juice just accepts it.
I guess so. Nobody else backstage wanted it. There's nobody else
So-
who has more seniority in the company that wants a shot at the TNT title or anything. Like
So fuck that
fucking
belt.
Ethan Page doesn't have any desire to have the TNT championship.
Then
or
fuck
anything.
that belt. Fuck the belt. Then
Yeah.
we've already
Yeah.
got enough. The belt has sunk to a whole new low anyway. Now let's be real, right? Where's Wardlow? Oh, isn't that
Where's
a fucking
Waldo?
thing? Yes. I was gonna say that. Isn't that a fucking thing? Where's Waldo?
Where's Waldo?
Where is he? Where's Wally?
I don't know.
That's what we call it here instead of Waldo. It's the same character, but it's Wally.
Wally.
I
Wally.
don't know why. No, WALLY. Wally. Which is short for Waldo.
Yeah, where's Waldo?
Where's
He's
Waldo?
probably with Wardlow and also with
Where's
Andrade
that,
somewhere,
though?
and also
Oh.
somewhere with Miro, and also somewhere with
Where, at
Brian
the Bahamas?
Cage. Yeah, I don't know.
Is that where they're at?
All right,
Well, if-
I don't have time for the rest of this. We're moving on. Next up,
All
the
right,
tag match.
all right. I was gonna
Next
say
up
if
is-
anyone finds them, please let us know. That's it.
Yeah, somebody hire Benoit Blanc and find out where those guys are. Benoit Blanc. There's a character that we'll have to rename if he ever winds up in the WWE.
Excuse me.
You've
No.
overdone it. You're making yourself
I did.
sick. All right, next up is a tag match we've been told is a real big deal. Some people said we were going to get Mercedes Moné, but
Ugh.
we
No,
didn't.
we weren't.
It's just Saraya and Tony Storm taking on Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker.
Jimmy Crackcorn, and I don't care.
Yeah. Hikaru
Honestly.
Shida comes down to the ring. Eventually, she throws in a kendo stick that the heels use to win.
Finally,
and
the
I
heel's
just-
done a heel thing.
I know, and I just went, what the fuck just happened?
Wow.
Somehow in AEW, the heels cheated, and then they won. That's fucking incredible.
It's a miracle, Chris.
It's a
a
Christmas miracle.
Wow. Heel's doing heel things. Who would have flunked it?
Yep. Okay. So, yeah, that's fine. I really don't give a shit about this match. It looks like they're leaning towards maybe Shida doing a heel turn, but is she really turning a heel against Saraya? Because do
I
people
have no
love
fucking idea.
Paige?
Does anyone like pages? If you get what I'm saying.
I just don't. I don't feel like she's a great face, to be honest with you. Like,
Great
not anymore.
face, right? Well, after what Max did to that face, I mean,
Jesus.
the
The
just
answer to
saying.
every question is penis.
and come.
Okay, all right, okay. We're going a little far now.
PWC baby.
Just kidding. We have a warning at the beginning of the show.
We
so
did.
Fuck you guys
Absolutely.
if you don't have a sense of humor. All right, we've got a little backstage where Fat Albert and Ortiz are talking, and
Fat Albert. Hey. Oh, get him off my TV screen now. Seriously.
anyway, next I guess on Friday they're gonna take on Black Throne, Neckbone, Bloodstone.
What did I call him last time? I fucking forgot.
I
But
don't
yeah,
even know.
we're getting darkness. Darkness.
Black
Yeah.
Thrones, something Black Throne.
I thought it was the house of Black Thrones, Dark Houses. Can they make up their minds? Elevators. I mean, dark elevations in the elevators.
Yeah.
I dark in AEW, bro, and blackness
And colors, just like
and
colors
colors. Yes.
and shades and
and
shapes.
shits and
Like,
shits. Feces.
I really feel like TK's entire education stopped at like second grade because everything's about colors and shapes.
Dude. Yeah, you know what? You ain't wrong. That's why it's funny.
Fucking
But you know what, dude? This guy won Booker of the Year 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, whatever the hell
3
it
years
was.
in a row.
3 fucking years in a row. As long as we've been doing this shit for, he's Booker of the Year every year, bro. I
Yep.
wouldn't have thought he was going to win it again this time around, but damn it, he did.
Man, this is one of those things that's like, in a few years, people are gonna look back on this and be like, "What the fuck were we thinking?" You know what I honestly think. Like TK is, TK being popular is like Limp Bizkit being popular. Like
Fred
10
Durst?
years from now, everybody's gonna be like, "I didn't fucking like TK. No.
Get
TK was
fucked.
lame." Just the way
Yeah.
everybody reacts to Limp Bizkit now. Everybody
Limp
fucking
Bizkit.
listened to Limp Bizkit back in the day, but everybody's
Hey.
like embarrassed. Everybody's like, "No, I was never a Limp Bizkit fan."
Oh.
People are gonna do that with TK. They're gonna be like, "I never voted for him."
It's the same with
Yeah,
Nickelback too, bro. People
Nickelback.
pretending they were never Nickelback fans, please.
Nickelback.
I know, shout out to Nickelback. I know they're Canadians, but please. How many motherfuckers were pumping Nickelback at one stage? A lot.
Shout
Just
outs
saying.
to Theory of a Stained Nickel because all of those fucking bands sound the same.
That was the times though too. You know what, man? Quickly on Nickelback, they are the best cover fucking players though, dude. When they do when they cover for other songs from other bands, they're fucking awesome. Especially their heavy metal stuff, bro.
Their version
telling
of
you.
Saturday Night is All Right for Fighting is fucking awesome. The
They
version
also
of-
got a Metallica song which is off the fucking hook, bro. The way they did it, oof. Like I'm
Sweet.
telling you,
I know
bro.
that Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting remix that they did was
Yeah.
the opener for Hockey Night in Canada for a few years there, and I fucking loved that song whenever
I
it
think
came
I know
out.
what song you're talking about. Yeah, that was more recent. Oh, Tom says in the chat, I'm hoping to see Eddie Kingston in Belfast, Ireland at the end of the month at Over the Top Wrestling. Is that where you're from, man? From Ireland? Well, our boy Chris Ambs over here, he's half Irish himself. A proud
I
half
am.
Irish Canadian. Shout outs to Ireland. Are you from the Republic of... I assume you are because you are Belfast, Northern Ireland. Isn't it? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Belfast is in the north. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. But yeah, shout outs to Ireland as a whole.
Yeah,
Um,
and good luck going to see Fat Albert when he's there. I'm sure it'll be great.
Hey. And you know what, man? I'm sure you obviously seem to be an Eddie Kingston fan, and so are we. But the way AEW have booked him, it's just, you know. Well, there you go.
It's terrible.
We're right. Northern Ireland. There you go.
It's terrible.
But,
Actually, they should have made him world champion when he first came in feuding with Mox. They absolutely should have done
Should they?
situation. Yes.
Fat Albert
Listen,
as world champion?
They didn't have to fucking stick with him, but they could have made him as an act if they would have done something. Again, like we talked about this at the time. The absolute best fucking thing they could have done with Eddie Kingston when he was having that feud with Moxley is you have Moxley go out there. They had an I Quit match. You have Moxley go out there, beat him, beat the shit out of him, beat him up. He's bloody. He's fucked up. He can barely stand. He gets up. Mox hits him with another fucking Rough Rider or whatever the fuck his
The
move is
Rough
called.
Rider.
Honestly,
What's it
I'm
called
so-
again? The
I
fucking
don't
something Rider.
Death Rider?
Some...
Death Rider?
Fuck. Death Rider. That's the one, I think.
Yeah.
I
Death
think it
Rider.
is.
Hit him with another Death
Is it
Rider.
Ghost Rider?
And beg him. Have Moxley beg him. Please say I quit, Eddie. I don't like. Please, Eddie, just quit. Like, this
Please.
is ridiculous. You have Eddie Kingston say, "No, I'll never quit. I'll fucking die before I quit." And then you have Moxley go, "You know what?
Put him out of his misery. What?
He says
Why?
he because he doesn't want to hit his friend anymore because he's beating
Oh,
him
that's
up so
storytelling,
fucking badly. He goes, "No, I'm not gonna fucking kill you here over this championship. I quit." And
That's
then
compelling,
Eddie
Chris.
Kingston's world champion, but he's conflicted and he knows he didn't really earn it. And you know he gives Moxley a rematch and Moxley takes the title back. But there you have a made fucking act, a former world champion who won it on spurious fucking circumstances, but is still your former world champion. You have an interesting layer to Moxley now. Honestly, that would have been fucking perfect, and they fucked it up. They fucked it up.
Wow.
And that was the match where they had the stupid fucking exploding ring, too.
That's what killed him, really, after that. And the fact that he was saying he's a hitter. Clearly, you're a hitter of nothing. But Thomas says it's 6:40 a.m. where he is. Damn, bro. Thank you for watching and listening to us at 6:40 a.m. in Northern Ireland. Damn, bro.
Absolutely.
That's pretty, what's the word? Humbling. That someone be listening to us that early. That's pretty cool. He also said Death Rider or modified paradigm shift. We know we're just fucking around, really.
Yeah,
we're just being
being
clowns.
silly.
You know what I mean? That's if this is the first time you're listening to us, go to www.thepwcnetwork.podbean.com where you'll find all our shows from the past and whatnot. And I'm telling you, go back and listen to some of those episodes. I think you'll like them. And we've got just about everything about anything in pro wrestling there. So check us out there, Tom. And please spread the word for us, man. If you like us, please spread the word, man.
Definitely. Yeah. If we can get more fans in Northern Ireland, my grandparents will be fucking stoked.
Absolutely. We're worldwide, baby.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so next up, Jericho makes his entrance with the JAS.
This was funny.
LA sings along to Judas as they come to the ring. Something about hard nipples. Jericho says he beat up Starks and Andretti last week. The Starks experiment is over. It's over.
Isn't that a song by Corrupt? It's over now, it's over. Remember that?
I don't. Yeah, it's a good one. But also, that was like one of my favorite Vince Carter moments when he did that fucking ridiculous spinning dunk, and then he just walked away going, "It's over."
Vince Carter was the shit back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Heck, he was playing over 40s and still killing it, bro. I mean, he changed his style to bombing threes. One of the best perimeter shooters when he was never a three-point shooter back in his Vinsanity days.
Vince Carter was awesome.
He put Toronto on the map, bro.
Hey, yo, who slams harder, Onyx or Vince Carter?
I like that. I look, really Vince Carter, but Onyx Slam is a classic, bro. I like what you did there. I like it a lot. Great song. Just quietly.
Right.
Classic.
Okay, so
Just
Q
slam.
Starks and Andretti.
Sorry, you got it in my head.
Great song. That's a great tune. Q Starks and Andretti. Starks says the JAS couldn't get the job done last week. Andretti threatens to shove a baseball bat up Jericho's ass. Daniel Garcia threatens Andretti, says Sammy, or then Andretti says Sammy can't keep control over his wife. There's a sexual innuendo in there. Blah, blah, blah. Bad
Always the
promo
same
exchange.
shit, bro.
And they set up for Swagger and Starks next week. The only
Okay,
good
wait,
thing
can I say
about
something?
This entire thing was that Swagger said, "I like this hat." And
That
the crowd
killed it. That
and
beat
the crowd
him.
popped.
Absolutely. And what Tom said in the chat, he says Ricky Starks says that he is going to help Jake Hager with his speech impediment. I lost it, lol. Right, so did I. But there's only one problem. Did anyone hear Action Andretti the way he fucking spoke? That motherfucker was lisping like a motherfucker. And he's talking about Jake Hager lisping. Man, that Andretti needs a fucking... Don't talk, brother. Just saying. For now, get your shit together because that motherfucker was lisping way worse than Hager. I'm telling you. And they're going to talk about who's the lisper? Come on, man. Like, seriously.
Your wife's hands were on my cock.
That was so... Oh, man. That was funny. The only balls I can see from here are the ones through your fucking pants. That killed me, man. When he said that line, like, that really killed me. And he wrecked him. And when he said he's an undefeated MMA fighter, that's it. But you know what's going to happen. It's the big guy against the fucking little guy. And guess who's winning?
Yeah, Starks goes over, for sure.
And really, Hager should eat him alive, bro. I don't care what it... Because the fact of the matter is, how do you have a guy that's an MMA fighter legit, a former NCAA wrestling collegiate champion, legit, to lose to some little fucking big head midget?
Yep. But this is Hager's spot here. This is what he does. He looks
He calls
big.
himself Absolute. absolute bullshit. That's what I say. You know what I mean? I'd rather the hat win, man, in all of this. Get a Head and Shoulders bottle, put the hat on it, and you can pin the hat after that, man. That's it.
The hat winning the TNT championship would just be
because you get it. He's got Head and Shoulders.
Kiss.
That's it. Hey, that would be over, bro. That hat, I'm telling you, if that won the TNT championship, I would pop.
I would too. All right, Jimmy, we're there. We're at the main event.
We finally made it, huh?
Yeah, we made it to Game 7 or Match 7 of the Best of 7 series.
Of the Seventh Heaven. Remember that show? Is that a show?
Yeah, it was a show.
It was. Remember that show?
You know the dad from Seventh Heaven was like a sexual predator.
Yeah, that happens a lot in those type of shows. Just saying.
It's true.
Wasn't that a religious show? It was. It was a good show, but at one stage.
That's true, Jimmy. Oftentimes the DV dads that are the best to wind up touchy on the girls. You know?
Well, wasn't what's her name in the show? I forgot her name. She became a big actress, man. What's her name, bro? You know what I'm talking about.
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel, that's it. That's the only thing that was good about that show. But anyway, 7th Heaven. But yes, Game 7, hence the NBA on NBC Music. Because it's basketball, apparently.
Basketball.
Yeah. Tony Khan bought the rights to it now.
And honestly, like, I'm going to go over this, but I fucking hated this.
This one was the worst one. It was the worst one of them all, I think.
And because we've already seen it 6 other fucking times in the last couple of weeks. Like, we've seen this fucking match. It's the same old mess. Everyone's everywhere doing everything at once. The referee doesn't kick anybody out of the fucking ring. Omega clearly fresh enough to get up, but he's resting in the fucking corner. And you can tell he's just resting because his eyes are wide open, and he's just watching his fucking tag partners getting their asses kicked. Phoenix has to stutter step so his teammates can get into position, etc. Omega has to wait for Pac coming off the top ropes. Omega tipping the ladder over when he had everyone out on the floor. Omega goes through a table, and before anyone can really appreciate the spot, Pac goes through a table. So nobody gives a fuck that Omega went through the table because we just saw the next guy go through a table. Spot. The crowd chants "Fight forever," and I think to myself, they're not fighting. They're not fighting. Yeah. They're spotting. This should be somebody. Can we get a hold of fucking Pro Wrestling Tees? Can we make a shirt that says "Spot Forever"? Because that's what this fucking shit was. Spot forever.
Spot forever. And we're not talking about the dog spot. We're not saying Arn Anderson's liver spot. We're talking about spot in the ring. The spot monkeys. Spot festing.
Just awful.
It was a spot orgy. It was Spotified.
Anyway, it's basically impossible to follow this fucking match. Everyone's jumping and spinning and no-selling all over the place. Nick lands a 450 to the floor through a table on top of Penta. That wasn't the finish. Kenny Omega sets up the ladder but takes a hammer shot and a Falcon's Arrow on the outside. He then no-sells it 14 seconds later by climbing to the top of the ladder. He hits a one-winged angel from the top, and then he gets the knees up on Pac, who tried to hit a Falcon's Arrow from the top of the ladder. He climbs the ladder. He wins for himself and the EVPs. And yeah, I'm just really happy that the EVPs of the company aren't just putting themselves over or anything like that. They're helping to elevate the younger stars and things of that nature. Fuck me, Jimmy. I don't know. Like, I realize that I sound like the old man yelling at the clouds when I fucking talk about these matches. But they're so fucking predictable, and just nothing about this tells me combat. Literally, I just got finished playing through the new Mortal Kombat game.
Brilliant
Mortal Kombat
game.
11.
Love it.
It's great. You know what? It felt more real than Young Buck matches.
The storyline's good too, bro. That's what's funny. Can you believe that shit? And on top of that, look, to be fair though to Kenny came off a brutal match against Will Ospreay. I don't know, it looked like his shiner wasn't as bad this time, but he had a black eye after that match, bro. It was he got pretty beat up. Both of them beat the shit out of each other. For real.
Which brings up a fucking comment. I know everybody's like, "Oh, this was a great match. This was such a good match. This was the match of the year. How could anyone follow this match?"
Hell no.
The point? No. What I'm talking about is the Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay match.
Oh,
The point
it
of
was
professional wrestling is to make it look like you're beating the shit out of each other.
They were, bro. They
while
were kicking the
not
shit out of
competing.
each other.
The point of professional wrestling is not to beat the ever-loving shit out of each other to the point where you both probably needed medical attention
I'm
at the
telling
end of
you,
the
bro.
fucking match while not competing. That's not pro wrestling. That's just beating the shit out of each other like a bunch of fucking weird sexual masochists. Fuck that match.
Look, I love that. Did you watch it by any chance?
Fuck that match.
I'm telling you, bro, it was a fucking great match. And yes, they overdid it in that sense. You're right. But put that aside, it was fucking... You know how I feel, man. Kenny in Japan versus Kenny in AEW. Two different Kennys, bro. It really is. You don't realize it until he goes back and does his thing over there. Fucking very different, bro.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
God, true.
America killed Kenny.
Well, he tries to cater to the American audience, bro. The Western audience, shall we say. And I find it interesting because Canadians don't like Kenny like Canadians should love Kenny. What's up with that?
Well, because we like technical pro wrestling that looks like combat.
But he can be technical. I mean, he's a fucking... I don't know, man. I love his matches, generally, right? Especially in Japan. But that's me. Like I said, you know me, I'm a fucking Kenny mark.
All I know is every single time he does that fucking Terminator thing where he pounds on the mat, the ba-bum, bum, ba-bum, ba-bum, bum, ba-bum. Every single time he does that, at least half of the Canadians watching go, fuck this guy.
It's weird, bro. Like, cause the thing about Canadians, man, they love their own. I just feel like Kenny, like, I don't know. He doesn't get that same... He should, though, like, in my opinion. But maybe he's too Japanese.
I'll tell you this much. I will tell you this much. If AEW ever does a show in Winnipeg and they bring Kenny Omega...
They are, next week, I think.
In Winnipeg?
Yeah, bro. They're coming live from Winnipeg. I kid you not. Yeah.
I'll tell you what,
bullshit.
if Kenny Omega's there, he'll get a fucking reception. You'll see
He
that
should.
Canadians do, in fact, love Canadians. But
Well, the last time I saw him in Toronto... Well, he was in Toronto. No, was he? When they just did their latest Canadian show?
I'm not sure that he was there, to be honest.
I don't think he was, actually. But before AEW, when he was in Canada, he was getting fucking big pops. But what I will say is, I think the Winnipeg show's in February, as a matter of fact. Look it up.
Cool.
It's official. It's 100%. It's a Dynamite. If I were you, I'd go.
I might get tickets, yeah. Honestly.
Go for it, man. Absolutely go for it. And tell me from there, because it'll be good to get the lowdown. Did he get a pop like we heard on TV? If he does or doesn't, it'll be interesting. But I'm looking forward to see how the hometown, especially for Jericho too. It's going to be Winnipeg Central, bro. I'm actually looking forward to that show because me personally, I love shows coming live from Canada because of the fans, man. You guys are great.
Well, I'll give that a fucking A. Now, Jimmy,
A.
We're gonna wrap here. Here's what I'm gonna say about this show as a whole.
There goes my phone.
I really liked this show. Like, aside from this main event, which I thought was just silly, I thought that pretty much every match on this show was solid. Like, really good professional wrestling match. I didn't like the booking in all of them. Again, like, Danielson needs to win cleaner and quicker against people who aren't world champion material. But I really liked the wrestling tonight. I thought that most of this silly shit was kept to a minimum. And again, aside from this main event, which I just didn't like, I thought it was a really good show. So yeah, I'm glad that I tuned in for this one, actually, because it's the first time in a while that I watched a whole 2 hours of professional wrestling and thought to myself, I'm glad I didn't do something else with my 2 hours.
Wow, I'm surprised. I know, and by the way we've been talking about, you'd think we hated the show. It's not that it was a bad show, especially the in-ring stuff and all that. It's just the bullshit that the way they book certain things, and really we're nitpicking, but they're still big deals in our opinion. Just if they get the little things right, it's great. It's a great show.
Yeah, and you know what? Saying I really like this thing, but I really didn't like this other thing. That's what critiquing is. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you watch a Godzilla movie, for instance, and if you're a critic and you're watching a Godzilla movie, you're probably going to come away with a critique that says something like, "I really loved watching the giant monsters fight each other. That was cool. Everything else with the people was lame and stupid and boring." And that's how it goes with this show. You know, we're gonna tell you when they had banger matches, and they had some really good fucking wrestling matches tonight, but they also had some really questionable booking. So yeah, great matches, questionable booking, but I'm really glad I watched this episode.
Absolutely. No, look, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Dynamite generally is the most consistently good, weird show out of all of wrestling in many ways.
It's watchable. It's watchable in a way that the WWE shows just aren't. You know, I filled in for you yesterday on the
thank you.
Conflict.
Thank God. Yes. NXT's tough, bro.
Oh my God. I told Jeff, I said at one point I fell asleep. I fell asleep while watching the NXT World Title match. That's how. And you shouldn't be, right? No.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's lately and it's tough, bro. But hats off to Jeff and shout outs to Jeff. I don't know how he does it, dude. He watches fucking even MLW every week. I mean, and he hates it. I don't know why he puts himself through that torture, but that's what we do here at the PWC. We watch everything. Well, not all of us, but we watch everything, basically. And we'll cover it, man. I mean, shit. It is what it is. But, yeah, NXT's tough. It's tough. I'm not going to lie. But Raw, it can be good and then shit. But SmackDown's pretty consistently good. But yeah, AEW's always got the most talking points. And probably the most fun talking points where we shit on shit. Even though Vinnie Mac and friends are going through an absolute civil war right now at Titan Towers.
Everything happening backstage is more exciting than everything happening in front of the camera. So that's
no doubt, man. For sure.
That's not great for a pro wrestling company. But anyway, Jimmy, tell the people where they can find you, bud.
Well, before I tell the people where they can find me, we got one more comment in the chat. And Thomas says, to be honest, I was actually hoping due to the match that Will Ospreay or United Empire came in and made the Elite lose, which is a better storyline between United Empire and the Elite down the road at a pay-per-view. Don't be logical, Tom. That was never going to be logical. That's too easy for AEW to even do, because they can't even think that straight. And to be fair, that wouldn't have happened because Ospreay wasn't going to come to America right now. But you're right. But yeah, forget about it. Don't think logic when it comes to AEW, because logic is not something they're fucking good at. I'm just saying. But in saying that, if you want to follow me, you can on Twitter at DJ MassFX and also at the PWC Network. Please like and subscribe right here at the PWC Network.podbean.com, where you can find all our shows, including Chris's show, The Fasteners, coming up very shortly. You can find everything to do with pro wrestling and actually pop culture and politics. You can even find right here, and the paranormal with Garden of Doom with Jeff Littman. Also, please like and subscribe at channelattitude.com, where for $5 you get to hear me and Chris talk AEW once again, but at channelattitude.com. But you're gonna have to pay $5 unless you catch us live, and that's on Vince Russo's channelattitude.com. Also, like and subscribe at HarminMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can find all our affiliate shows. And I think that's about it, actually, Chris. So yeah, take us home, bro.
Sweet. Well, you can find me on Twitter. I am at ChrisAmbs1. You can find me on Facebook too. If you want to add me to your Facebook, go ahead and do it. Unless you are holding a professional wrestling belt in your profile picture, I'm not adding you. That's just because of, well, historically, and also it's because of a deep-seated belief that I have that if you bring a wrestling belt to a wrestling event, you have to defend your belt. And if you don't, you're a pussy. No, but really, just happy to be back on here, and stoked we're getting rolling again with all this stuff, and happy to be back, happy to be talking, happy to be on a show with you, Jimmy, and happy to be
Likewise, bro.
talking to you, our audience. Thanks a lot for the comments and everything, guys, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace out.
Absolutely. Peace.
Ring the bell, cause the pain is so vital. He can lose by a count, I'm still retaining the title. You can could win by DQ, but you're soft like the Dairy Queens. You built like Enzo and skinny like his pair of jeans. Rape your dignity and punish your lies. Ben, I mean, there's a pimp with 200 wives. Thunder your rise, you could get your bat to the balls. He could pull a foreign object and fracture your skulls. Hack you in the back of the stalls, blast you through a door hinge, laughing on his podcast. Conspiracy horsemen with no endorsement, it's simply a promise. He's a sultan of slime on a mission of bombers. When his mission's accomplished, he will be the reigning champ, putting all you fat fans in a weight training camp. Armageddon is come, he'll put an end to pro wrestling. Hack a high mean, and you might as well replicate.